It's 8:20 in the morning. It's the first day of March 2024. It is cold and rainy here at Site B, and it is I, Grumpy McGrump, your favorite idiot, the OGGM, and we're doing this week's D&D nonsense because we got a few. And we're just going to start, we're going to work our way up from the least offensive to the weirdest. So starting with this one, we had a talk at the beginning of this week with the devs over at D&D Beyond for what they have planned next, and it's very much map centric. So we know that the next update is called Maps. It has lots of features to improve maps. It has a spectator mode that allows DMs to open a separate tab that players can view on a separate monitor. It has a draw tool that allows you to use freehand maps. It has a whole bunch of new products and a ton of third-party content. It's got a pointer added. That means up to now, D&D Beyond for its maps did not have the ability to go, here's a little arrow, and I'm going to just point right here. You can rename a token. Again, that's new. Most every other VTT has given you the ability to rename tokens since day one. And it will support the 2024 core rulebook. Maps are here to stay and will be continued to be reported. And they've invited a whole bunch of new third parties to join. Now, this is a Dyson Logos map. I don't know if that means Dyson has signed up to be an official third party on D&D Beyond, or they just use the map without his permission. But since his maps are public domain usually, anyways, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's Dyson's Logos, one of the best map makers online. If you're familiar with his work, it's really, really good. So yeah, maps on D&D Beyond. As if D&D Beyond wasn't clunky enough already, let's add a brand new thing to make it even more clunkier. Now, you have heard my D&D Beyond is way too clunky story. Dozens of times I've brought up dozens of instances of why D&D Beyond doesn't work. At least not for me. My experience with it has been it doesn't work. It's still pen and paper. It's still better, faster, and more accurate. And with the D&D Beyond set up the way it is so counterintuitive, that you have to pay for it, and then you have to rent the stuff, and then everybody at the table has to be dependent upon how well the internet is and how well their computers can pick up what you're doing. And just with my little experience with D&D Beyond over the years, it's just clunky. So let's add more clunkiness. Now, I've already played with Demi-Plane, and I already find it to be much better. I've played with Roll20. Roll20 is a disaster. They keep saying they're going to improve it, but it just seems to be getting worse. I've played with Foundry. Foundry was okay. It was very good. It wasn't great. I've played with Bugbear Radio, which is probably my favorite because it's just simple and doesn't drag your computer down. But now they're adding more stuff. They're adding maps, which of course begs the question, true believers. But wait, what about the other thing? What about the VTT? Why do we need all this on D&D Beyond if the VTT is coming out? Weren't we going to see the VTT in 2024? Well, I'm not going to say yes. It does feel like we're not going to see it this year. It does feel like they're kind of tossed it out there, gave us a little preview, and maybe, I don't know, proceeding to start firing major chunks of their digital artists and creators might have been a mistake if they're just going to invest so much energy in the VTT. More likely, I think most likely scenario between this and the announcement that Foundry was now the official VTT of Dungeons & Dragons, I think they realized they bit off more than they could chew. And they're trying to shoot for something sorry, way more complicated than maybe they were prepared for. I don't know if they're going to completely give up on doing a VTT. I think they probably should. I think it's in much better interest financially to just let somebody else do it. It's in much better interest just media-wise and industry-wise to just let other people do the VTT say that's the official Dungeons & Dragons VTT. And then if people get upset, which we know it's going to happen, they get upset at this guy over here. And Wizards and Hasbro's like, oh, it's not our program anymore. Should happen. You should probably talk to them. Yeah, I think it's just another thing that Wizards, Hasbro's taking on that I don't need to. And I think maybe they kind of realized it, because now it looks like they're focusing back on putting on the maps and the live play stuff on D&D Beyond. Let's just make D&D Beyond the VTT. Here's the map, here's the adventure, here's the tokens, blah, 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 blah. Done. And then meanwhile, they've also got, oh, hey, Foundry's the official VTT, and maybe they go Roll20 is the official. Bugbear, they just say, hey, here's our IP. You can rent it. You can say you're the official VTT for foreseeable future. We make money. You make money. You get all the bad press, and we get to wash our hands at it whenever the next controversy comes up, and we can focus on D&D Beyond, which is what we kind of need to focus on if we really want to be a viable contender in the digital world, because D&D Beyond sucks right now. So, and what are we doing? We're adding more things that's going to make it more clunky and more sucky. Here's 10,000 new gigabytes of information for maps and the ability to now name tokens, which they're like, hey, that's a big deal. And everybody else is like, what do you mean? I've been able to do that in every other VTT as long as it's like the simplest thing. We have a pointer now. You didn't have a pointer before? I would think that's the first thing you put on. Yeah. So anyways, as far as Wizards of the Coast go, this is probably the least annoying, bothersome, controversial, bad news. I think it just goes to show again that they're just like, hey, you know what? Maybe we bit off more than we could chew with the VTT. Well, so why don't we just sort of let it simmer in the back and let our people work on it for another year or 2 or 3, and we just give, more attention to the thing we should be working on, D&D Beyond, and let more people rent the IP, run it, say they're official, and then when the inevitable anger happens, they're angry at them and not us. Agree, disagree, do you care? Maps, I can get maps for free. So I don't really know about this anyways, and I'm never going to be a VTT Discord fan anyways. It will never top tabletop. Maybe in another 20 years when the technology evolves to the point where it can run seamlessly on everybody's computer at the exact same time, and the dependency on the interweb is less, then maybe it'll be viable. For right now, for me, my old brain, it doesn't work. It still doesn't work. I have not seen anything to make me go, yeah, you're right, this works. My experience with Roll20 has just been like, oh, this is awful. My experience with Discord has been, oh God, this is awful. My experience with Foundry was, oh my God, this is awful. And my experience with D&D Beyond so far has been, oh my God, this is awful. All right, that's it. Moving on to the next story. I'll talk to you later. Stay safe. It's raining.